I'm MacKenzie with the Beaverton City Library, and I am a youth services librarian. But I am actually going to talk to you for a few minutes about some adult books that I have read in 2020. I have 3 of them here with me, and these happen to be my favorite adult books that I have read in the past 12 months or so. So I've got a variety for you. I've got 1 fiction novel, I have 1 collection of poetry, and I have 1 book of essays. And I hope that you'll discover a new favorite today. So first off, I have Homegoing by Ya Jussi, and this is an amazing, amazing story that spans centuries, actually. It takes these 2 sisters in Ghana in the 1700s who don't know that each other exist. They have different mothers. And one of them is sold into slavery and shipped off to the Americas. And the other one marries, I believe, a British officer and stays in Ghana. So then what the book does is it takes these 2 sisters and it follows their lineage over time, over centuries and generations until you get to roughly present day. And it's just an amazing telling of U.S. history through that Black American lens, as well as Ghana's history through that lens. So it's an emotional read, but it's so good. It's a book that I didn't want to put down, but I also didn't want to finish it. So it's excellent. It's heartbreaking, but the ending is worth it, is all I'm going to say. In case you read this and love this, Ya Jussi has a newer book that just came out this year called Transcendent Kingdom. I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited and can't wait for the holds list to go down so that I have a chance to read it. So excellent read. Next book is the book of poetry, and this year, back in May, I started reading a lot of poetry, and this was one of the books that kind of, not the book, I think it was Mary Oliver who really spurred me to read a lot of poetry, but this one really stuck with me. As you can see, it's not a library book, I own it. It's called The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur, and one of the things that I like about this book, it's not the only thing, that's not the main thing either, but she has these drawings interspersed and paired with some of the poems. Not all of the poems, but it adds something extra and nice and meaningful to think about. So this book is split into 5 parts. There is wilting, falling, rooting, rising, and blooming, and it's sort of like the 5 parts that can make up a relationship or make up growth as a person. And the 2 parts that really struck a chord with me were rising and blooming. So those are the last 2 parts. And as you can see, yes, I do dog ear, pages in the books that I own, only books that I own. But as you can see, I've dog-eared a number of poems that I really enjoy and want to come back to. So I'm just going to read you a really short one. And it says, I do not need the kind of love that is draining. I want someone who energizes me. So I really love that. Rupi Kaur also has a latest book as well. Homebody. It just came out this year. Another one I haven't read, but she also has, in case you can't get your hands easily on Homebody, Milk and Honey is another book of poetry that she's published. All right, last but absolutely not least. So this is a book of essays. It's called Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. And I think I started reading, I think I picked this up because I was looking for more essays. I think I had finished Lindy West's latest collection of essays, and I wanted more essays. So I picked this up, and I was immediately hooked. So the first essay is called Thick, and I'm gonna read you a short passage from it that I think just really lays the tone for this book. There we go, that was a page ahead. Longtime readers of my work may recognize some parts of these essays, but will find that each of them has been rewritten. My thinking is not fixed in time, and hopefully it never will be. I become more radical about some things as I get older. I am also more forgiving of pettiness these days, even as I become intolerant of willful ignorance. I have 14 reading spots in my home and 3 in my university office. I read on a Kindle and the Kindle app on my Google phone, and with library apps like Overdrive. I have 29 alerts set up for online scholarly databases. Those alerts send me new research featuring my keywords whenever they are published. I buy more periodicals than I will ever fully consume. I read and think a lot. To the extent possible, my entire life is organized to find me 15 more minutes every day in which I can read slowly, often using my finger as I did as a child, across new words and new ideas. If any of my essays could be republished without rewriting them, I would have failed as the human I work diligently to be. And you might think, well, you're a librarian. You love the part about reading. And actually, that's not it. It's that very last sentence, the one that says, if any of my essays could be republished without rewriting them, I would have failed as the human I work diligently to be. And this just kind of blew my mind and got me thinking more about how, like, when we learn new information, when we hear new perspectives, when we hear new stories, anytime that adds to our bank of knowledge, that probably changes how we process things, how we think about things, and thus is going to change anything that we write on that topic, right? So I just thought it was really mind-blowing. I actually texted a few friends to say, remind me, have you read this book? Because if not, I'm gonna order it for you. So Thick was published in 2019, so she doesn't have a latest published book, but she does have a podcast, and it's called Here to Slay, and she does it with Roxane Gay, who is another author whom I absolutely love. So I haven't listened to the podcast, but I imagine that it is just fantastic. So my 3 books that I recommend that I've read in 2020, again, are Homegoing by Ya Jessie, and The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur, and Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. So like I said, I hope you found a good new book to read, and thank you all for listening. Bye.